Hey everyone, you don't know me. My name is Octavian. This is the first video I'm posting on my personal channel, and it has absolutely nothing to do with my main job, but I really wanted to talk about this because I think it's really interesting. So, lately I've been experimenting a lot with getting ChatGPT to help you write, but not in the normal way where people try to, you know, um, have it help you write, where they go like, hey, write me a text where I'm a wolf, and it just writes you some stuff, and it'll write you a bunch of stuff. Now, the thing is, this isn't really human sounding, right? You can tell that it's AI speech, and as a matter of fact, if I can find it, I'll link it. But I saw an article where some actual researchers were talking about the idea that there's you can measure the expressions that someone uses in writing, right? And kind of analyze that to determine whether a piece of text is theirs or not. And you can do that with ChatGPT's text too. And in fact, if you analyze a ton of text, you can you can actually find patterns that ChatGPT uses in text. It turns out it has like actual preferences for ways of writing. And so what that means is you can actually recognize AI writing. In my case, I don't really like how ChatGPT writes or even Claude or anything of that sort. So I kind of want to write myself, you know. But sometimes I like transitions or I like being prompted to write, or I like not having to think about the whole process. And I don't really even mean like, writing like a fantasy novel or anything of that sort, but just like let's say I wanted to write like a technical doc for a Python script or something of that nature. So, what I've been coming up with, or what I came up with the other day, and it's nothing revolutionary, but for me, it was kind of a good idea. So, I wanted to share it with you. What I thought about the other day was, hey, what if I just asked it to ask me to write? Now, that might sound really stupid, but hold on. Listen up. You don't just go, hey, ask me to write. That would be really stupid. Don't just, hey, ask me to write something. This is not going to work. That's not what I mean. What I'm talking about, my boy or my girl, right? That sounds weird. What I'm talking about is more along the lines of first decide the piece of text that you're going to write. So let's just for a second imagine that what I'm going to write is, you know, let's say I'm going to write a presentation for a, company. Uh, I don't know, or maybe for a new product for my company where I'm trying to get my boss to uh, approve of me getting money to, you know, make the product. Very original of me. In any case, but let's say that that's the goal, right? Now, if that's the goal, what we do in this sort of pattern is I would say, hey, okay, so my goal is to create in this case, this thing. And I'm going to go ahead and just use Grammarly to correct that. But we do this. And then I go, I don't want you to write this for me. I want to write it myself but I want you to help me by prompting me to write it step by step and taking my answers to each prompt and putting together the final presentation. So the idea is that this thing, ChatGPT, is gonna go ahead and ask you a bunch of questions, and you're gonna answer each one. And we're gonna specify a little bit more even, because the more specific your prompts are, the better. That's kind of the thing with context engineering, I guess, nowadays. And so it's gonna ask you a bunch of questions. You're gonna answer them, and the more specific and the more you the text sounds, the better. And so let's specify a little bit more even. So I'm gonna go a little bit deeper here. I want your questions to be super step by step, be specific, don't leave anything open to interpretation. I want to have to answer things with my thoughts, opinions, and so on, and create a great presentation. Let's try this. Let's give it a try. Let's see what we get. So if I hit enter, this is what we get. I'll ask you one very focused, specific question at a time. No big, open-ended, describe your product nonsense. Your answers will go straight into the final presentation with just one light touch-up for flow and grammar. This it does because I asked it to in my personal thing. If it doesn't do it for you, one thing you can do is just do this, and just ask it to do this. Lightly touch up my answers for flow and grammar. So you would just do this. That's it. And then it would start. You would just go, okay, so what's the opening and hook? Why does this matter? In 1 or 2 sentences, explain what is the urgent problem or opportunity that makes this product necessary right now. Try to focus on the pain point or a change in the market, not just it would be nice. And so write your answers as if you're standing in front of your boss. So here you have a very specific question that you can, quite simply answer in 1 or 2 sentences, really. And you've broken down a quite complex task, which you may have stumped you, like writing an entire presentation, which to me happens a lot. Like, oh, damn, I have to write a complete, 20-page thing. That's a lot. But if it's just like, oh, I can write 2 lines at a time, especially if it's, I can dictate 2 lines at a time. I would probably dictate more like 10 lines here, but you would go ahead and dictate 10 lines here, and it would take those, right? And it would extract the most interesting parts and move on to the next question, which I think is extremely interesting. At least to me, that seems like a really interesting way of going about it. Now, obviously, this is with ChatGPT, and I was using GPT 4.1 mostly just because, well, to me personally at least, I think using 4.1 is just a better idea than using 4.0. But if you use 4.5, that's just better in this specific scenario. And if you use Claude, that's just a better idea. Just generally speaking, just use Claude. Honestly, just use Claude. There's pretty much no reason to not use Claude except for the memory feature in this kind of usage. And yeah, that's kind of the only thing that I wanted to talk about. I don't want to extend it any longer. I don't have anything to pitch in this channel. I don't have anything more to talk about, or so have a great day. and I hope it was useful to you. See you.